Three main reasons that I observe time and time again as to why most plant-based weight loss attempts fail. We already know this is an incredible approach to nutrition, but an amazing nutrition base, sadly, isn't enough to always guarantee success on the scales. Number one, they are far too extreme. Whether it's attacking the carbs, cutting out all of the healthy fats, maybe not paying attention to protein, whether it's aiming for a little bit of an idealistic 100% whole foods approach and suggesting, therefore, that you've broken all the rules and the all or nothing mindset kicks in when you have something that's a little bit of processed, or you eat one meal out and so you may as well screw up your whole diet, sod it, I've messed up now, right? All of these extreme rules, whatever it is, lead to the same thing in my observation. This is impossible to make stick long term. You're sitting on the golden ticket, but all of these extreme rules that aren't really ideal, not only for health and well-being and longevity with this amazing lifestyle, but also they're just not practical. Never eating out again, never having any inbuilt flexibility into your plan so you can't enjoy occasionally a glass of wine or a baked good. I don't know if I personally ever wish to be so Puritan that is my criteria for success. I don't think that's practical. The second reason, so number one reason why most plant-based diets fail is they are too extreme to be sustainable. The second reason is they're simply too vague. Maybe they are sustainable, but they are rather vague. I think there is a suggestion often in the plant-based community that just eating clean is enough to guarantee weight loss. And sometimes that can help you lose the first 5 or 10 pounds, especially if you're eating McDonald's before and then you transition to this very healthy way of eating. You're naturally going to have a drop in calories, and maybe initially you don't have to pay all that much attention to, portion control and calorie awareness and things like this, but you will quickly find, let me know in the comments below if you resonate, all of my clients will be in here like, yep. You'll quickly find you hit that wall, and there's only so far that clean eating can take you without that deeper layer of structure and precision and portion control and guidance with regards to things like calories, and we've already spoken about macronutrients, right? I find that some plant-based diets are simply too vague to be successful. Or maybe it's the 50-50 plate model, which is like, well, 50% of what? And then there's the argument about starchy versus non-starchy veggies, and then there's the argument about going back for seconds and a lack of clarity on that. Again, these things are slightly too broad. They're slightly too vague. There's slightly too much guesswork, I think, for these to be repeatable systems that allow for consistent weight loss on the scale week after week until you reach your ideal healthy body weight. They're kind of hit and hope strategies. By the way, I'm not about to pitch calorie counting as the solution. We'll come on to how I philosophize that, think about calories, but having some awareness that, calories still matter, and clean eating can absolutely lead to maintenance or even regain, even eating healthy whole plant foods if the calories are not appropriate to you personally. So most plant-based diets fail because, number one, they're too extreme, or number two, as we've just covered, they can be too vague. The third reason, they are not accompanied by any habit/identity work. The identity meaning the story that we have of ourselves, the standards we hold ourselves to, how we see ourselves, and really embracing and immersing ourselves in, no, I'm going to live like a fit and healthy person now. And even though that doesn't feel an ounce congruent with the current person that I am, because I've watched myself be a little gremlin with food for decades, I'm still going to commit to that identity of myself because I really want this to work, and I do genuinely want internal transformation. But ultimately, things like the emotional eating and the cravings, these don't get fixed even with the best plant-based diet in the world. But if you don't actually change with this process, you're still going to be a victim to that kind of perfect week, totally awful week, spiral sort of, let's say, yo-yo, the cliched merry-go-round that people are on with this stuff, swinging radically between being perfectly on track or wildly off track, and we have to get you out of that. How do we change this then? You need to ultimately change. Number one is repetition, which comes with consistency. Number two is reframes, which is changing how you think in certain moments. That's very important. And number three, pushing through your quitting points. That's where the transformative moments happen, when you are, it's 10 p.m. at night. I always give this example, and you've had a really stressful day and the Ben and Jerry's is calling your name and whatnot, and it'd be easy to not just have a spoon, but nail the whole, have a spoon with a bit of fruit. That might be something that you can flexibly build into your diet, but nobody does this, do they? If they're in a bad mood, they're slamming the Ben and Jerry's. You need to push through those quitting points. So the Ben and Jerry's moments where you actually say no, this is what I meant to say earlier. This genuinely changes you, not in one isolated incident, but when you constantly get to the point that you'd usually give up and you don't give up and you go and do something else and you distract yourself with something more righteous than food. It's amazing. In quite a short space of time, as long as you're consistent with it, you do actually change, because you are literally breaking those old behavior patterns and those chains of behavior. You start breaking that. Coding's the wrong word, but associations is absolutely the appropriate word. You start breaking those triggers, breaking those associations, breaking those routines. That actually changes you. You are changing. This is the deep internal work that most of us require, all of us require, for massive health and weight loss success. So what is the fix? You've identified why you fail on a plant-based diet. Maybe that it's the plant-based diet is too extreme in the first place. Maybe it's not too extreme. It is sustainable for you, but it's a little bit too vague. And actually, you maybe need some awareness around the calories now. You need to be a little bit more careful with the portions, and just eating plant foods isn't enough. So it's too extreme, too vague, or it's the habit identity work stuff. You haven't actually changed. Your diet is pretty good, but you need to do that work too. Let's say you've identified, right? What is the fix for all of this stuff? Number one, you need a plan that is simple and satisfying and incorporates all three macronutrients in a balanced, not an equalized, but a balanced fashion. So you're having carbs, protein, and fat, because this is most beneficial for satiety, and also well-rounded nutrition, of course. Number two, high fiber. Fiber keeps you fuller for longer, so make sure you're really, really full. Plant-based diet, you're not going to struggle with fiber anyway, mostly. But when you make sure there's that extra maybe 10 or 20 grams of fiber in your day-to-day diet, this can make a massive difference for making it more easy to stay in a sensible calorie deficit. So that's a little hack for you right now. So you need all three macronutrients, high fiber, and a small strategic calorie deficit. I said we'd talk about this, not an aggressive one that leads to these crazy crashes and burns. When I say small strategic calorie deficit, doesn't mean you have to track your calories. Either you do track your calories somewhat, or you have a plan that you know for certain puts you in a calorie deficit without having to track and measure everything out for yourself, like my clients do. Yeah, you either do it yourself or bring some awareness to calories, or you have a plan that automatically puts you in one, so you don't have to worry about it too much. That's exactly what I do for my clients on Slim and Sustain. So the fix, number one, you need a plan that is simple and satisfying. That's really, really crucial. Number two, you need real world flexibility, so you can handle the meals out, the travel, and the busy weeks without spiraling. Number three, ideally, right? Cheeky plug coming here, but ideally, you need some kind of help, coaching, accountability, support to change your habits and identity to keep you stuck. You can do this work on your own. That's how I did it. Took ages, took way longer than if Ryan Adams was around, talking about himself in the third person. Ryan Adams and Vegan Slim and Sustain was around back there. But that's how I actually did it, full transparency. But ideally, you need some support, some coaching, some accountability, some emphasis on the habit, the identity shift to accompany this incredible approach to nutrition. You take those two things, as I said earlier on, you gel them together. That's your recipe for success. When you are the right person and you've got the right diet, you absolutely win. If you've been wondering why your plant-based diet hasn't delivered the results you want, hopefully this live stream shed some light on that. This way of eating, it's an amazing nutritional base, but that doesn't guarantee your success. And I actually break this down further. Yes, we've covered some basics here. I actually break this down further in my new Vegan Slim and Sustain Insider Doc. This is not like a freebie how-to guide. This is actually instead a behind-the-scenes look. I've pulled back the curtain, a behind-the-scenes look at my exact philosophy and framework after coaching nearly 600 clients through this process now. So in that Insider Doc, I simply break down why most plant-based diet weight loss attempts fail, what actually makes results sustainable in further depth than what we've talked about today, and number three, how my program applies these principles. If you're interested in all of that, check out the Vegan Slim and Sustain Insider Doc. You'll find the link to that somewhere down below. It will be uploaded to Google Drive, so you'll find the link to that below.